Hello everybody, this is Fungus, and I bring you Fungus News, where we talk everything in the Cobalion division. This is the third week of the season so far, so we will go on to the matches now. So the first match isn't really a match because it didn't actually happen. It is the Trondheim Rosenspors coached by Hydra versus the London Vespa Queens coached by Jake. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of Bulbasaurs on the screen, and usually that means the match did not happen because it just did not. There was a time set for the match, however, the London Vespa Queens just didn't show up, and because of that, it was a forfeit win for the Trondheim Rosenspors. It's always unfortunate to see this type of thing happen, but it does happen from time to time, and because of that, it does give the Trondheim Rosenspors their first win of the season. So even though it wasn't a true win, I guess, um, good on them because they need to get some momentum going if they want to make playoffs this season. So that is our first match. Our next matchup is the Defenders of Stalingrad, coached by Staniel, versus the Michigan Minetrics, coached by Tog. Staniel was looking to keep his win streak going, and while the Minetrics were just trying to get at least one win this season, they've had a pretty rough season so far. Now, however, this matchup turned out to be very, well, incredibly one-sided. First blood was drawn by the Giratina Origin, where after a Heatran went for a Steel Beam. Giratina Origin was able, at +1, since it had to set up a Calm Mind beforehand, was able to kill it off with a Shadow Ball. After this, the Zamazenta was able to switch in on a Mew and was able to set up a Iron Defense, which put its defense very high so that Body Press could do a lot of damage. The Mew was Terra Ghost, however, this did not matter as the Zamazenta did have Crunch, which allowed it to three-shot the Mew, which scared the Mew out, into the Glimmora, which the Glimmora pretty quickly died to a Body Press. After this, Shaman came in, and one of the weirdest interactions I have ever seen happened, where the Shaman actually got frozen by a Ice Fang and turned back into its normal form just so that it could cure itself with Natural Cure, which was just one of the weirdest interactions I have ever seen. I didn't even know that was a thing that could happen. But because of this freeze, the Shaman didn't have the special attack necessary to take out the Zamazenta Crown, and it left it at 5% HP. After this, the Piloswine came in and just died to a body press, and then Mew came in and was able to finish off the Zamazenta Crown. But at this point, it was 2 versus 6. The Manectrics were way down, and even if the Mew was able to kill off the Zamazenta, Overquill came in, killed off the Mew, and once again, the Manectrics were left off with just their Zekrom, which honestly, at this point, was just not enough. It was able to kill the Overquill, but afterwards the Ursaluna came in and was able to finish the job. So because of that, the Stoliras were able to pick up their third win of the season, a big win, moving them up to 3 wins and +10 differential, and their playoff spot is actually looking quite solid. However, the Manectrics will need to make a huge change if they do want to make the playoffs. Our next matchup is the Russian Rapidash coached by Martin versus the Virginia Vibravas coached by Jeremy. Now the Rapidashes brought a team of Deoxys, normal, Greninja, Corviknight, Skeledirge, Screamtail, and finally Cloudsire, while the Vibravas brought a team of Chien-Pao, Trapinch, Pelipper, Raichu, Archaludon, and finally Annihilate. Now, this matchup started off pretty quickly, I'd say, as the Vibravas had their more offensive threats out early, while the Rapidashes had their more defensive Pokemon out. However, this would turn out to be in the Rapidashes' favor, as they were able to get big Toxics off on the Pelipper and the Annihilate, which gave the Rapidashes a nice lead in game state. However, even with this, the first blood actually went to the Vibravas, as the Archaludon was able to take a lot of hits with its stamina ability, and was able to, at +3 defense, was able to take out the Greninja with the body press. However, at this point, 3 of the Vibravas Pokemons were compromised. The Annihilate had already taken massive amounts of damage, being less than 20%, and the Archaludon was at 5%, which meant that pretty much anything would be able to revenge kill it. And that's what happened. The Cloudsire came in and was able to revenge kill it. Afterwards, the Annihilate came in to try and revenge kill the Cloudsire, but then Skeledirge came in and was able to take out the Annihilate with ease, as it was at 13% by this point. The Pelipper then came in and was able to do some big damage on the Skeledirge. However, the Skeledirge was also able to do big damage on the Pelipper, able to take 60, able to bring it down to 19%, which meant that the Pelipper at this point wasn't going to be as useful as it would regularly be. And by this point, it was basically a 5v3. Even with the first blood drawn by the Verbavas, Martin um, had a huge lead in the match, especially with the advent of Wish Screamtail. It was pretty much it was pretty clear who was going to win unless the Verbavas were able to make a huge comeback, which did not happen as um, which it just didn't happen. Even with the Trapinch getting a pretty big kill on the Clodsire, it's a Trapinch at the end of the day. It is literally the first stage of an evolution. It wasn't going to be able to do much. It even got 2 crits actually on the Clodsire and on the Skeledirge, but it just was not enough. And actually, this match, I think the most kills this week actually went to the Clodsire, getting 4 kills with Stealth Rock's Toxic and just a bunch of different chip damage. So it actually put in a lot of work this week. But yeah, it was a big win. Both of these teams needed a win this season, as they were both looking pretty poor when it came down to the playoff spot. But the Russian Rapidashes were able to pick up a win and keep their playoff picture alive. So good on them. We're gonna see how they do in the next week. Our fourth match of the week is the Kerry Wisps, coached by Dom Bozo, versus the Ellesmere Eternals, coached by Kung Fu Panda. The Wisp brought a team of Dragapult, Sandy Shocks, Uxie, Rillaboom, Blastoise, and Magirno, while the Ellesmere Eternals brought a team of Zacian, Dragalge, Keldeo, Darkrai, Landorus, Incarnate, and finally Metagross. Now, as you see there next to the Darkrai, there's a little star. Every Pokemon that got a Mon of the Week will get a little star next to their name. So if they get 2 Mons of the Week, they will get 2 stars. So that will be just something that will be happening in the future. In future installments. Now, this matchup was very quick, not even 20 turns, mainly because the Ellesmere Eternals got off to a very quick start with their Metagross, being able to pick up a kill on the Uxie and also on the Dragalge. So that was a huge lead for them. And from there, they pretty much just bullied the Wisps for the rest of the match. They were just so far ahead in the match that it was just kind of difficult for the Wisps to get back. Rillaboom tried to put in some work, but uh, Rocky Helmet a Rocky Helmet Dragalge was kind of just able to fend it off. Even though the Dragalge got down to actually 1%, by that point there was not much the Kara Wisp could do. They just didn't have enough options against such an aggressive team. And whenever you don't have options against an aggressive team, you're just kind of done. It's just very difficult to come back, and that's exactly what happened. The Kara Wisp just couldn't come back, and the Ellesmere Eternals were able to pick up their second win of the season, giving them higher chances of making the playoffs, while the Kara Wisps, still very good chances of making playoffs, now have to fight a little bit harder. So yeah, that's the match. We'll move on to the next one. Our fifth matchup of the week was the legendary Landorus, coached by Grandmaster Cake, versus the Philadelphia Smeargles, coached by Fungus. The Landorus brought a team of Mewtwo, Thundurus Incarnate, Scizor, Dusclops, Pheasantipede, and Urshifu Single Strike, while the Smeargles brought a team of Fluttermane, Dialga Origin, Gliscor, Vaporeon, Hisuian Quillfish, and finally Noivern. Now the matchup started pretty even, however the Smeargles got off to a pretty strong start as they were able to paralyze the Urshifu with a Thunder Wave. However, after a mistake from the Smeargles staying in on a Thundurus Incarnate, who was actually Terra Ice that week, the Gliscor went down, giving first blood to the legendary Landorus. Afterwards, the Scizor was able to come in at some point and set up a Sword Stance, and since it had Trailblaze, it was able to one-shot the Vaporeon who was coming in. This gave a very strong lead to the legendary Landorus, who was able to kind of capitalize off of it. However, the Smeargles were not done yet, as they gave the legendary Landorus quite a scare with a substitute Fluttermane. However, the Pheasantipede came in and was actually able to set up a Tailwind, which was huge because the Fluttermane is usually faster than the legendary Landorus' entire team. However, with the Tailwind, the Mewtwo was actually going to be faster than the Fluttermane, which allowed it to not only kill the Fluttermane, but the Noivern afterwards. Because of this, the legendary Landers were able to pick up a win against the Smeargles, which will allow them to have better chances of making playoffs, and now the Smeargles will have to fight their way a little bit harder to make playoffs. Our final match and the match of the week for week 3 is the All-Seeing, coached by Renelin, versus the Santa Maria Absols, coached by Felix. Now, the All-Seeing brought a team of Galarian Zapdos, Gastrodon, Mimikyu, Lugia, Kieran Black, and finally King's Gambit, while the Santa Maria Absols brought a team of Alomomola, Weezing Galar, Tinglu, Lunala, Garganacl, and finally Iron Valiant. Now I will say that out of all of the matches of the week, this one was probably the least entertaining. It wasn't a very entertaining week per se for matches this week. However, um, one of the reasons to win match of the week is if you're able to show off what your team can do, and that's exactly what the Absols did. The All-Seeing's team is very, very scary. Galarian Zapdos had a bulk up set, Lugia had a calm mindset, and Kiram had a substitute set, which were all very scary. And on any other week, would be able to finish off pretty much any team, really. However, the Absols were able to just kind of chip away at the All-Seeing's team little by little. Not just that, but able to keep their Pokemon healthy, and mainly because of the Alomomola wish passing all at pretty much at every opportunity. Um, the first blood came in the form of a King's Gambit against a Garganacl, who was already burned, so at this point it was pretty much just the All-Seeing trying to sack away their King's Gambit. It was useless by that point, so there was no reason to keep it. And pretty much from then, the All-Seeing were just trying to set up something to try and beat the Santa Maria Absols down. However, they just weren't really able to. Uh, the Tinglu was able to whirlwind a substitute Kieran Black, which is absolutely insane to think about because Kieran Black is an absolute menace, but the Tinglu was actually able to tank a Icicle Spear and get back, pretty much ruin any possibility of the Kieran going for a sweep. Afterwards, the Galarian Zapdos was actually able to stay in for quite a while. However, the Alomomola was just able to come in, give a wish to Weezing, and pretty much from then it was just Galarian Zapdos not being able to get the kill. Lugia tried to do the same thing, but wasn't able to get past the Tinglu and the Garganacl. So really, it was just the All-Seeing just not being able to do much against the Santa Maria's Absol's team. It was just a really impressive showing from the Absols this week. Uh, like even like the Alomomola was just able to wish past pretty much everything, to the Iron Valiant, to the Garganacl, to just pretty much every member of the team. It was just a really good match played by the Absols. The All-Seeing could have won this week if the Absols were just weren't on their best day today. So even though, like I said, it wasn't like the most entertaining matchup of all time, but it was a fantastic showing from the Absols this week, which is why I gave it the match of the week. Now is the kill leaders of week 3. So first off, we have a new appearance from Zamazenta Crown with 4 kills, 2 deaths, plus 2 differentials, and 3 games played. I was able to pick up 3 big kills against the Manectric, so the Staliarath's Zamazenta Crown was able to make a showing on this week's top 10. Next up, we have a um, comeback entry in Galarian Zapdos from the All-Seeing with 4 kills, 2 deaths, plus 3 differential, and 3 games played. Wasn't able to pick up any kills and only picked up a death this week, but it's a very strong showing in week 2. Was able to keep it on the list for now. Next up, we have the Santa Maria Absols Iron Valiant with 4 kills, 1 death, plus 3 differentials, and 3 games played. It only died in the second week, but was able to pick up a kill this week, which brought its total up to 4 kills. Next up, we have the Staliwrath's Giratina Origin with 4 kills, 0 deaths, plus 4 differential, and 3 games played. Was able to pick up another kill this week, bringing up its total to 4. It was just hasn't died yet, so that's why it is higher than everybody else. Next up, we have a new entry again with Clodsire from the Russian Rapidashers, which is actually the Russian Rapidashers' first Pokemon on the kill leader. With 5 kills, 2 deaths, plus 3 differential, and 2 games played. Is the first Pokemon with only 2 games played on the list, and also was able to pick up most of its kills this week with 4 kills this week against the Virginia Vibravas. So it was a very strong showing from Clodsire this week. Next up in 4th place, which will be tied with the next entry, is the legendary Landorus's Mewtwo, which was able to pick up 5 kills with only I think 1 death and a +4 differentials with 3 games played. It was able to pick up 3 massive kills this week against the Philadelphia Smeargles, which is why it was able to show up on the kill leader, even though it has never shown up before. It was only at 2 kills before this. Next up, we have the Santa Maria's Absols again. Um, Garganackle with 5 kills, 1 death, +4 differentials in 3 games played. Um, it picked up 3 kills this week, was able to pick up 2 kills in the last week, which is why its total is up to 5, and is why it is now showing up. It's also a new entry this week, so good job for the Santa Maria Absols to have their second Pokemon on the kill leader. And then once again, another showing from the legendary Landorus, but this Pokemon was already there before. It is the um, Hisuian Avalugg with still 5 kills, 0 deaths, and a +5 differential. It did not show up this week, however, because of its strong showing last week, it is still in 3rd place. It did drop down, but at the end of the day, it's a Hisuian Avalugg in the kill leaders. That's still very, very impressive. And then next we have the Ellesmere Eternals Darkrai. It was able to only pick up 1 kill this week, so it brings up its total to 6 kills, 1 death, +5 differentials, and 3 games played. However, because of its strong showing in week 2, it is still very strongly in 2nd place and was actually able to move up. And finally, our kill leader for week 3 is once again the Philadelphia Smeargles Flutter Mane with 8 kills, 2 deaths, +6 differential, and 3 games played. Even if the Philadelphia Smeargles lost this week, the Flutter Mane was actually able to pick up 2 pretty big kills, which is why it's able to retain its top spot in the kill leaders. Now next I'm going to talk about, now next is going to be the Mon of the Week, and this week I decided to go with a Pokemon that didn't actually get any kills this week. I decided to go with the Absols' Alomomola, and the reason for it is because of the fact that there wasn't really any big kill leaders this week. I could have went with Zamazenta, who got 3 kills this week and pretty much almost single-handedly won um, the Stolly their game, or I could have went with the Russian Rapidash's Cloudsire, but I felt as though those 2 Pokemon did do a lot of work, yes, but at the same time, I wouldn't say they were single-handedly kind of keeping the team alive or keeping really just doing the most work. However, the Yellow Momola, even though it picked up 0 kills, pretty much kept its entire team alive, keeping the Tinglu alive, keeping the Iron Valiant alive, um, keeping the Weezing alive, which allowed the Absols to just kind of defensively win their match. Without Alomomola, they don't win. Like they just straight up do not win. The wish passing, this thing passed like a whole bunch of wishes. It basically counted for 5 Pokemon almost with the amount of wish passing it did. It also obviously regenerated itself with its own ability, which just it was at like 11% for so much of the match, but it was just able to keep itself alive and keep other Pokemon alive, which was really the reason why the Absols won, like I said. And so even though it didn't pick up any kills this week, I felt as though it was a super deserved spot because, like, like I said, I think last week, it doesn't, even if you don't get any kills, it's Mon of the Week doesn't just go to the Pokemon with the most kills. It goes to the Pokemon who did the most work that week, and I thought Alola did just, it pretty much just single-handedly won the match for the Absols. So because of that, I decided to give it Mon of the Week. So thank you for watching. There was no trades and transactions, so that will be the end of this episode. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.